But if you don't make decisions, you're going to stay right where you are.
We are all map makers.
We are in a time of transition.
If we're going to change, we have to change the direction that we're going.
Our planet needs leaders who know where they want to go.
When we change the direction we're going, then we want to make sure we're going in the right direction.
Leaders who can see the big picture.
Because if we're not, we're going to either go backwards or we're going to stay where we are.
Recognizing the psychological and the spiritual shifts and changes that need to be made, often from the inside to the outside.
To be able to shape your future, you have to be willing and able to change your paradigm.
Complex journeys require navigation. The path to the truth is one such journey. This is your GPS. Hairstyling services provided by J.D. Edwards Salon and Spa, Palmdale Shopping Plaza, Madera Street. Accessories provided by Chevette Williamson Jewelry. Standout jewelry for standout women. Wardrobe provided by Bahari Bahamas. Visit shopbahari.com. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this Wellness Wednesday on GPS, Global Paradigm Shift, here on Glory 93.9 FM. I'm your host, Michelle Malcolm, and of course, it's a pleasure to be in your company today. Thank you so much for tuning in once again. Y'all don't know just how much I appreciate your support by checking us out every day here on GPS. So, you know what it means on a Wednesday. We're going to talk health issues today. And I decided to do this particular topic because, you know, people tend to think that this is only a fad. And yet so many people are suffering from this and they just aren't making the connection. And I often come across clients in my work as a health coach. And I advise them, you need to avoid this. And then they come back later on because, you know, I do a follow-up with my clients after, say, about a week, 2 weeks on the products to see how they're going. And then I follow up with them and I say, okay, how is everything going? Oh, this is, you know, this, I feel so much better. I did this and the next, but there's just one problem. What's that? Well, I'm still having this joint pain. And my next question is, what are you eating? And if they're going to be honest, they have to admit to me, well, you know, I had a piece of bread, or like how we had Easter holiday weekend this past weekend. Well, you know, I actually had a client tell me this. Well, you know, I ate half a hot cross bun. So I said, boy, that must have tasted real good. What was it worth that pain you went through? And his response was, no, Miss Malcolm, it wasn't worth the pain. I said, okay then. So y'all know what I talk about today, right? Talking about the devil that is gluten. I'm calling this show today, Going Against the Grain. Do you have the guts for gluten? And, you know, like I said, people think this is a fad, you know? And one of the things that really amazes me is how your friends and family know that you're gluten-free. They know this, right? But yet you go around them and they still trying to offer you these things with gluten. Like they think that it's a game for you. And I'm saying to myself, why would you offer that to me if you know that this is causing me a problem? What you trying to tell me? And you just don't know how to come out and say it. Why you want me to suffer? But this is what we do. Because I think people think, oh, that's all in your head. You're not really wrong with it. Why would you offer me something knowing that there's something in there that's going to harm me? Bad enough at harming you, and you probably don't even know. But you know it harming me because I've made you aware of this, but yet you offer this to me to eat. And so we're going to be talking about it today, and we're going to really, really go deep into this today so y'all can really, hopefully, understand how serious this problem of gluten really is. This is not a game, people. This is not a fad. This isn't me trying to be bougie when I say I don't eat gluten. It's for health reasons. And as you will learn in this show today, you very well could be suffering from this problem and not even making the connection. You're feeling the pain, you're going through all of the symptoms of it, but you attributing that to something else because you don't understand that it's that donut that you ate with that gluten that's causing your joints to hurt. So we're going to break it down today. So I'm going to begin with a clip that's called "What's the Big Deal About Gluten?" Because like I say, some people think it's just a fad. So what's the big deal about gluten? Let's go to clip number 1.
Maybe you've recently seen the phrase gluten-free on food packaging or takeout menus, shampoo bottles, apartment listings, the tag of your shirt, on a hammer, as a lower back tattoo, or in your friend's resume. Next time someone starts telling you about their newfound freedom from gluten, here are some questions you can ask, and the well-informed answers that your friend, being a reasonable individual making educated dietary choices, and by no means just following the latest diet craze, will tell you. What is gluten? Gluten is an insoluble protein composite made up of 2 proteins named gliadin and glutenin. Where might you encounter gluten? Gluten is found in certain grains, particularly wheat, rye, and barley. What has gluten been doing for the previous entirety of human history, and why do you suddenly care about it? Gluten is responsible for the elastic consistency of dough and the chewiness of foods made from wheat flour, like bread and pasta. For some people, these foods cause problems, namely wheat allergy, celiac disease, and non-celiac gluten sensitivity. Wheat allergy is an uncommon condition that occurs when a person's immune system mounts an allergic response to wheat proteins, leading to mild problems and, in rare cases, a potentially dangerous reaction called anaphylaxis. Celiac disease is a disease in which eating foods with gluten leads to inflammation and damage of the lining of the small intestine. This impairs intestinal function, leading to problems like belly pain, bloating, gas, diarrhea, weight loss, skin rash, bone problems like osteoporosis, iron deficiency, small stature, infertility, fatigue, and depression. Untreated, celiac disease increases the risk of developing certain types of cancer. Blood tests suggest the possibility of celiac. The diagnosis is confirmed with a biopsy. The most effective treatment is a gluten-free diet, which helps heal intestinal damage and improve symptoms. Some people don't have celiac disease or a wheat allergy, but still experience symptoms when they eat foods with gluten. These people have non-celiac gluten sensitivity. They experience painful gut symptoms and suffer from fatigue, brain fog, joint pain, or skin rash. A gluten-free diet typically helps with these symptoms. So how many people actually have this gluten sensitivity you speak of? Gluten sensitivity's occurrence in the general population is unclear, but likely much more common than wheat allergy or celiac disease. Diagnosis is based on the development of symptoms, the absence of wheat allergy and celiac disease, and subsequent improvement on a gluten-free diet. There's no reliable blood or tissue test, partly because gluten sensitivity isn't a single disease and has a number of different possible causes. For example, it may be the case that gluten can activate the immune system in the small intestine or cause it to become leaky. But sometimes people claiming gluten sensitivity are actually sensitive not to wheat proteins, but sugars found in wheat and other foods called fructans. The human intestine can't break down or absorb fructans, so they make their way to the large intestine or colon, where they're fermented by bacteria, producing short-chain fatty acids and gases. This leads to unpleasant symptoms in some people with bowel problems. For all these reasons, it's clear that the problems people develop when they eat wheat and other grains aren't exclusively due to gluten. So a better name than non-celiac gluten sensitivity might be wheat intolerance. Okay, so if instead of telling people you're gluten-free, you had to tell them you're wheat intolerant, would I still have to hear about it as often as I do now? Your gluten sensitivity is coming off as wheat intolerance.
I thought that was a cute clip. Forgive me if I come across as wheat intolerant. Okay? Forgive me if you're, tired of hearing about it, especially my loved ones who I always getting on their case about it. Forgive me, but we have to pay attention to this, people, because as you will learn during the course of this show, and I've put together a whole lot of clips, but it's necessary because you will hear from professionals who can break this thing down for you so you can really, hopefully, once and for all, understand how serious gluten is and what it is doing to your body. This is not a fad. And I hear people say all the time, well, we've been eating gluten for generations, and how come all of a sudden it's a problem? Now my grandmother used to bake bread and it was never a problem. Well, I'll tell you what the problem is. A big part of the problem is that the wheat, barley, rye, and oats that our grandparents ate was not the same wheat, barley, rye, and oats that we're eating today. Why? Because of genetically modified foods. So if you had the ability to go back in time and pluck some wheat from, say, the days of the Bible, and then fast forward back to today and pluck some wheat from a field today and put them side by side, they would not be the same. They would not be the same because the wheat has been genetically modified today to the point where from a molecular structure, it's really not the same. It looks similar. It tastes the same, but from a molecular structure, it is not the same. And that genetically modified wheat is very, very difficult, if not impossible, for the majority of people to break down. And in one of these clips that we're going to be talking about, we're going to talk about what the ratio is of people who are affected by this. So you can't, when people say all the time, not just with wheat, a lot of stuff you tell them they should avoid. People have been eating that for all these years and now you want to come up with this newfangled thing. Yeah, because my grandmother didn't have to worry about genetically modified foods. It was real food. But mankind and our, vast intelligence have decided that we're smarter than God, so we can start tampering with food to make it better. And your body's like, okay, I don't know what this is. And quite frankly, I don't know how to deal with this. And so I want y'all to listen to this show with an open mind, especially those of y'all who think you can live without bread and pasta, because as you will learn in this show, you don't have to. You can still be gluten-free and not miss bread or pasta, because nowadays, praise God, they got all kind of options available to us now. It ain't like, say, 5-10 years ago where, eating gluten-free meant eating cardboard. No, you have a lot of really good options available to you today, as we will learn as we go through this show. So let us break this down so you can get a full understanding of what we're dealing with. So the real problem is the structure of the protein in gluten. Okay? And that is what the structure of it is what makes it so hard for your body to digest. And so in this next clip, we're going to learn very specifically what that structure is of that protein and why your body is having such a hard time dealing with it. Let's go to clip number 2, please.
We can blame it all on the Egyptians. The whole cultural grain thing started with the Egyptians. It's right there in the Old Testament, right? The Egyptians figured out that during times of plenty, you could grow wheat and grain and store it, and then use it in times of famine and drought. And it was a really good thing at the time because it saved lots of lives during times of famine and drought. And then, of course, General Mills and Betty Crocker, who wasn't even a real person, right? took that ball and ran with it, and we've been suffering from it ever since. Now, here's why it's a problem. It's the problem with grain, specifically wheat, barley, rye, and oats, is not the grain itself, it's the protein that's in the grain. And the protein that's in these grains mostly is referred to as gluten. And gluten is a very difficult protein for the human body to digest. Conservative estimates are that 60% of Caucasians and 80% of blacks have a big problem digesting the gluten protein. Okay? And here's why that happens. Now, a protein doesn't matter whether it's a fish protein or a chicken protein or a wheat, barley, rye, oat protein, a rice protein, or a soy protein, doesn't matter. If it's a protein, all that it is long chains of amino acids or amino acids that have been daisy chained together. Now, if you remember from Dr. Wallach's lectures, amino acids are essential nutrients. There are 12 amino acids that are essential nutrients for the human body, which means they need to be imported into the body. The body cannot manufacture an essential nutrient. If a nutrient is categorized as essential, it has to go down the hatch every day. So we get our amino acids from protein. That's the main reason we need to eat protein. Now, regardless of the type of protein, a protein is just a group of amino acids that have been chained together through chemical bonds. This would be the chemical bond, and the individual balls in this diagram or circles would be the amino acids. Okay? So this is a very simple protein, a number of amino acids daisy chained together, and it's the job of the stomach to break those chemical bonds, liberating the free amino acids. Let's look at that again. Here's a protein. And we chew the protein up and swallow it. It goes into the stomach, where the stomach hopefully snaps those chemical bonds, liberating the amino acids, which are now free and which the body can absorb readily. Now, here's a picture of a simple protein. You can see here that the balls would be the amino acids daisy chained together in a chemical structure which is either simple or quite complex. These are artists' renditions of electron micrographs of different proteins. This might be a fish protein and a chicken protein and an egg protein and a soy protein, etc., etc. The take-home message here is that where the protein came from gives that protein its structure, and the structure of protein can be vastly different one from the other, and therein lies the problem. Because the chemical bond that we find in the protein of wheat, barley, rye, and oats is very difficult for the stomach to digest. Everything has to be just right in the stomach for the stomach to snap those bonds and liberate the free amino acids.
All right, so let me recap. You just heard why it's difficult for our stomachs to break this down, but did you hear the statistics? 60% of Caucasians cannot break down this protein. Cannot. 80% of those of us of a darker hue cannot break down this protein. So I often hear when we're talking about this, oh, Michelle, that doesn't affect everybody. No, it don't. But the vast majority it does. And are you willing to take the risk that you are in that 20%? Because chances are some of the symptoms that you may be experiencing could be traced back to this. Because again, we have to understand that your gut is like so important to your overall health. It's where 70 to 80% of your immune system resides. It's the apparatus that is responsible for the absorption of nutrients. So do you really want to take that risk that you are within that 20% who is not impacted by this, especially if you are already having health issues? Because again, you may not be attributing those health issues to this problem when in fact this could be a contributing factor to what you're dealing with. I can't tell you how many clients I have who, because they figure they can't live without a certain thing, go against my advice, eat something with gluten, and then come back to me the next day complaining about, oh, the pain was so intense, I had to go buy painkillers. Yeah, because you decide to go eat that bread. So like I asked my client over the weekend who admitted to me that he ate half, not even a whole one, half a hot cross bun. And that, I mean, because up until that point, he had been like 2 weeks off of the gluten. And the minute he put that back in his body was like, no, not having it. And I said to him, I hope that hot cross bun was good. Was it that good that it was worth that pain that you went through? And his response was, no, Malcolm, Miss Malcolm, it was not. Okay, then. Stop eating gluten until you realize the damage that it's doing to your body. And I actually said to him, I said, you know something, I'm glad this happened to you. Because now you understand it ain't just me talking. Your body telling you, stop. So we're going to get deep into it today, y'all. And for those of you who kind of annoyed at me talking about this all the time, sorry. But we're going to deal with it today again. Because it's that important. So let's take our first commercial break. And on the other side, we're going to dive even deeper into this whole question of going against the grain. Do you have the guts for gluten? On the other side of the break, we're going to really show you how gluten damages your gut. Stay with us.
Ocean blue is the best in seafood, hey, hey. Fresh out the water and affordable too, yeah. We got fish, conch, lobster, shrimp, everything you want, Ocean Blue got it. Ocean Blue, friendly and clean, best service you ever seen. Ocean Blue is the best in seafood, yeah. Fresh out the water and affordable too, yeah. Ocean Blue Seafood, we are here for you. Ocean Blue Seafood, no one else will do. Ocean Blue Seafood, located on Burnett Road. Contact us at 393-2160.
Boy, 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 here calamity. Boy, 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 don't want that be me. Let me get this coverage, do it once and for all. Insurance management is who I gonna call.
When calamity strikes, we're here to keep you safe and secure. With offices in Nassau, Freeport, Abacoy, Luther, and Exuma, Insurance Management, we cover the Bahamas.
At Lee Air, safety is our #1 priority. Flying since 1996, we offer scheduled flights into Fresh Creek and Mangrove Key Andros and Great Harbor Key, Berry Island, twice daily, 7 days a week. Affordable charter services are also available to anywhere in the Bahamas and the Caribbean. Lee Air Charter Services. Call 225-3267, 702-7127, or 322-1317 for reservations.
At the Shirley Street Plaza, you'll find Le Petit Gourmet, a small cafe that's big on flavor. Handcrafted delights made with love will not only please your palate, but feed your soul. Call us at 394-1251. 8 to 12 minutes is all it takes for a burglar to rob your home or business. Security Systems International provides professional and affordable solutions for both. Call 396-5000 for your customized quote. Gwen's Alterations provides professional services for all your tailoring needs, including face masks to keep you safe and in style. A stitch in time saves 9. So call us today at 393-6227.
To stay healthy, it's crucial to make sure you get the nutrition you need every day. But it's difficult to get all your recommended vitamins and minerals from food alone. Even in the United States, 94% of people are deficient in at least one nutrient. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 by Youngevity is a simple, convenient, and affordable way to help your body get the essential nutrients it needs. It's an advanced plant-driven multivitamin mineral complex that contains certified organic whole foods, trace minerals, and antioxidants. VTT 2.0 supports your body's natural defense system with a proprietary blend of energy-boosting and body-loving nutrients, plus prebiotics, probiotics, amino acids, and enzymes that support digestion. With an unusually high ORAC score of 8,000, you get even more antioxidants to help combat free radicals that can cause damage to your cells. But to get the most benefit and value from any multivitamin, your body must be able to break down the nutrients so you can fully absorb them. Otherwise, they'll just pass through your system without doing any good. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 was specially formulated with synergizing cofactors to ensure you get maximum nutrient absorption. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 is the easiest way to give your body the balance and complete daily vitamin mineral supplement it needs for optimal support of your overall health. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
And welcome back to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Glory 93.9 FM. I am your host, Michelle Malcolm, and it's a Wednesday, so we're talking wellness today, talking all about your health, and our topic today is going against the grain. Do you have the guts for gluten? Yeah, folks, we're talking about gluten again. And again, I apologize to all of y'all who tired of hearing about it. But it is what it is. This is something we have to talk about because it is really harming more people than they realize. And for many is really a source of the source of the problem. And unless and until you eliminate it from your diet, there's really not much anything can be done for you. Because as I always tell people, no amount of nutrition can outdo a poor diet. It just can't happen. So let's look at a couple of your comments from Facebook. Let's see. Marcia says, wow. Melvern, says, wow, that's serious. Yes, Melvern, it is. She also says, thank God for the knowledge. Yeah. Now, the thing is, you got to apply the knowledge because knowing it is one thing, but applying it is another. Because it don't work unless you apply it. So yeah, this is something that we all need to pay attention to. Melvern also says, the word says, he who has an ear to hear, let him hear. Thank God for this knowledge, Michelle. Thank you so much, Melvern. I just hope people are listening because again, they think it's a fad or they think you're just being bougie, you know? And I don't get it. I don't get why people who know what you're dealing with would still come and offer you something that they know, or maybe they just don't believe you. They think, here she goes again. But anyway, let me stay focused. But people, you all need to really respect people's desire to be healthier. And if they tell you they're going gluten-free, you should respect that and not try to offer them something that you know has gluten in it, like it's a game. Because for many people, this is not a game. This is not a game. People, more so than ever before, because of COVID, are now paying more attention to their health. And that's a good thing. And I think it's unconscionable when people try to offer you something that they know is bad for you. And they think, it's not funny. It's not funny. All right. So let's move on. But prior to the break, I promised you that we would get into exactly how gluten damages your gut. Now, you would have heard me talk about this on this show before, about the villi and all that kind of stuff, but it was pretty much just covering the surface of it, not being able to go very, very deep into it. Well, in this next clip with Dr. Peter Gluten, he is going to go deep into it as to exactly how gluten is damaging your gut. Let's go to that next clip, please.
Here's our digestive tract. Mouth up here, salivary glands. So, we put something into our mouth and our teeth start to mash it up and pound it up, and then the salivary glands excrete saliva and it starts to chemically digest the food, and then we swallow it. Food goes into the stomach where the lion's share of digestion happens. The stomach, if it's healthy, contains acid which is really, really strong. Man, it is like battery acid. If you could stick a tube down your stomach, if your stomach acid was healthy and strong, and you took some out and dropped it on your skin, it'd burn a hole right through it. The pH of a healthy stomach acid is about 1.4. It's very acidic. But the stomach has developed a lining that is impervious to the acid. The wonders of nature, right? So we eat food, mash it up with our teeth, swallow it, it goes into the stomach where the lion's share of digestion happens. And then the food passes from the stomach into the small intestines. And it's the small intestines where all of the absorption of our nutrients happens. And that happens through the agency of an anatomical structure called a villi. Now, if you were to take the intestinal tract and cut it in half, this is what it would look like. All of these structures here are like little tentacles of an octopus, right? And they are referred to as villi. And there are millions of them. That's millions with an M. And on top of the villi, there are thousands of microvilli. 1,000 million is a billion. So in somebody's intestinal tract, there are billions of tissues which are designed specifically to absorb nutrients. So it's the job of the villi to reach out, stick onto a molecule of food that you've digested, and suck it in, put it into the bloodstream. This is the border. The intestinal tract is where everything gets absorbed into the bloodstream. Now, once a nutrient or something gets into the bloodstream, it's inside the body. When it's in the intestinal tract, it's outside the body, which I know is counterintuitive. You think about it, if you put a grape, inside your mouth on top of your tongue, technically it would be outside of the body. It's not going to be inside of the body until your body digests it and absorbs it into the bloodstream. And that happens in the intestinal tract. That is the job of the intestinal tract, to absorb the nutrients that your system has digested. Okay? However, when we eat wheat, barley, rye, or oats, we get nothing but trouble. Because the chemical bonds of wheat, barley, rye, and oats, for some reason, and we don't know why, it just is, right? For some reason, those chemical bonds are very difficult for the stomach to break. I mean, everything has to be just right for the stomach to break these bonds and liberate the free amino acids. And again, conservative estimates are that 60% of Caucasians cannot do this, and 80% of blacks cannot do this. So this means when the majority of whites and blacks, or blacks, the majority of people eat wheat, barley, rye, or oats, these proteins are undigested. And this is a problem. Because when you get an undigested protein, and remember, they can be very complex, right? So when you get one of these tumbling through the intestinal tract, where there should only be individual amino acids, that's like having an elephant in your living room. And that's a bad idea.
An elephant in the living room, people, I want y'all to picture that. Picture that. Elephant in the living room. You're going to have some damage, right? Because elephants aren't supposed to be in living rooms. Same thing with what is happening in your digestive tract when you consume gluten. It's not supposed to be there. Your system has a hard time, breaking that chain down to free the amino acids. So that thing is just churning through your digestive system. And as it does, it is doing damage. Now, why is this important? Well, you just heard the man. Your digestive system is responsible, the villi in particular, are responsible for absorbing nutrients into your bloodstream. So if you're damaging the very apparatus that is responsible for absorbing nutrients into your bloodstream, this is not a good idea. Because now You may think that you're getting nutrients. You may be one of those people who only eats organic, or even supplementing, and you're not absorbing it because you're damaging the very apparatus that's responsible for the absorption. So you're making yourself a victim twice. You're victimizing yourself by damaging your body with the gluten, and you're victimizing yourself because now your body can't absorb the nutrients that you need to have good health. So again, is that donut that delicious that you are willing to risk all of that? And when you understand all of the systems that are impacted by this, when I say the systems, I'm talking about the various systems of your body, then you will figure out why this is not a good idea for you to continue to eat this thing. And especially nowadays, you have so many options. That's the beauty of it. You don't have to miss anything. So now we know what gluten is doing to the body in terms of the damage to the villi. So we know that the structure of the protein and why that's problematic. We know now the damage that it's doing to the apparatus that's responsible for absorbing nutrients into your system. But there's more, because the extent of the damage extends beyond that. You will be surprised to learn exactly how far that goes. Let's go to clip number 4.
As these undigested proteins of wheat, barley, rye, and oats tumble through the intestinal tract, they destroy the villi mechanically, and they also carry an electrical charge. You know, a thundercloud, the bigger that the thundercloud is, the bigger the electrical charge that it holds, and the bigger the lightning that comes out of it, right? It's the same thing with an undigested protein. Because of its size and complexity, a protein carries an electrical charge. And as the undigested protein tumbles through the intestinal tract, it's like a live wire. And it will also destroy the villi through something akin to contact dermatitis. You know, the electrical charge destroys the villi, gives it a little zap. Now, remember, it is the job of the villi to absorb nutrients into the body. And when you destroy the villi, you impair the mechanism that the body absorbs nutrients through, right? So, common sense then would dictate that when you eat wheat, barley, rye, and oats, and those undigested proteins tumble through the intestinal tract, as they destroy the tissue in the intestinal tract, all kinds of bad things happen. You get irritable bowel, celiac disease, Crohn's disease, and ulcerative colitis, which all are the same disease, by the way, just different levels of tissue destruction. But all of this ultimately results in malabsorption. Because what are we doing? We're destroying the villi, which the body uses to absorb things. So, you know, if you have 100 villi on Monday and 70 on Tuesday and 50 on Wednesday and 30 on Thursday, you're going to absorb less and less and less and less. And this is really just common sense. And this is why these things are a problem.
Okay, so I'm going to attempt now to share my screen so you guys can see exactly what this is doing to your body. So let me go ahead and try to share this. And for those of you listening in on radio, I'm going to do my best to describe for you what I am sharing. Okay, so it's not just a problem of digestive disorder. It's not just that you're dealing with. Now you're looking at the problem of and affecting your entire body. I'm just trying to make sure I'm sharing the right thing, y'all. Because it doesn't just stop at I'm not sharing the right thing. It doesn't just stop at your digestive system. It affects your entire body. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing, y'all, because I live struggling when it comes to this stuff. I try to figure out how to share the exact screen that I want to share, and for some reason, it's sharing everything else. So let me try and explain this to y'all. What this is actually, oh, there it is. Okay, I got it now. What this is actually doing to your body. So yes, it starts in the gut. And so you're going to experience some issues in the gut, right? But it doesn't stop there, because when you have created what is called a leaky gut, then it affects your entire body. So the leaky gut comes from a damaged villi. Damaged villi, as we know, a part of the problem is the gluten that's damaging the villi. So what does that look like for your entire body? Well, you start having issues with your sinus and mouth, frequent colds, food sensitivities. You're tired all the time because your adrenals are overworked. You now start to have problems with your bones and, well, your joints more so. So you get arthritis and rheumatoid arthritis and fibromyalgia. You start to get headaches. It affects your brain. So now you start to have what is called leaky brain, where you cannot focus and concentrate very well. You start to get issues with ADHD, anxiety, depression. It affects your skin. So now you're starting to have a problem with acne or eczema or rosacea or psoriasis. Your thyroid starts to malfunction because it does affect your autoimmune system. So now you're ending up with an overactive or an underactive thyroid, Graves' disease, and obviously it affects your colon. So you have things like constipation or diarrhea or irritable bowel, but you got a combination of both. All of that because you like that donut, because your grandmother's bake good bread, because you can't say no to guava duff. And you know what? I ain't judging y'all, because I was there, not being able to say no to guava duff. And it wasn't until, you would have heard me say the story for you who watch the show frequently, it wasn't until the first long lockdown last year that I decided to try going gluten-free, because I had more control. I wasn't around my friends and family who was eating all the stuff I shouldn't be eating. And so I made sure I got everything with gluten out of my house, and I bought all gluten-free products. And I started taking, I think it was Microbiome, which is a product by Longevity, to heal my gut because my gut was severely damaged. And not only did I stop having pain, but then I started losing weight without exercise. And I was like, whoa, if I had known this was going to be this easy, I would have done this thing a long time ago. So I'm not sitting here preaching to you, because I've been there and I know how hard it is to make that decision. But I have to tell you, now that I have made the decision, I ain't going back, because as much as I love guava duff, ain't no guava duff I ever taste in the world tastes as good as how I feel. And I've learned to make it without gluten. So the point I'm trying to make is, you don't have to miss out on your favorite foods by going gluten-free. And we're going to talk more about what you can do, or, what are the steps you should take if you do decide to go gluten-free, a little later in the show. But I want you to know that you're not going to be missing anything. You will be missing something. You will be missing the joint pain. You will be missing the stomach pains. You will be missing all of that stuff that's happening to your body now because you're eating that stuff. That's what you will be missing. And for those of you who are still not convinced, I'm going to throw out once again what we call the gluten-free challenge. I want you, for 21 days, to go completely gluten-free. I mean, read labels to make sure, because gluten hides in places where you don't expect it to be. They put gluten in ice cream and yogurt. You got to really read labels to make sure it's not sneaking in somewhere where you don't expect it to be. Ketchup, all that kind of stuff, right? But go 21 days gluten-free, completely eliminated from your diet for 21 days, just 21 days. And then on day 22, I want you to be a gluten-eating fool. Eat everything you could get your hands on with gluten. All right? Go eat that bread and eat that duff and eat that macaroni and cheese and the pasta and whatever else you want. Just go to town eating gluten on day 22. Knock yourself out. I guarantee you, your body will put you through hell for putting it through hell by reintroducing gluten to your diet. Your body will let you know in short order, this is not a good idea. I guarantee it. If you don't believe me, try it. Go 21 days, gluten-free. And then on day 22, knock yourself out. Have gluten for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and in between. And then come back at me and tell me how you felt on day 22, and 23, and 24, and 25. This ain't no joke, y'all. And it's not a fad. And as somebody who's trying to go gluten-free, y'all need to stop offering things to people that they say they don't want to eat because you think it's a game. Because this is not a game. I don't consider my health to be a game. Now, you could determine for yourself that you ain't going to stop eating it. Well, that on you. But respect my wishes, please. Don't be trying to force on me what I tell you I don't wish to eat because I know how bad it makes me feel. It's very insensitive, quite frankly. It's not funny. You may think, oh, I just kidding. No, stop. It's not funny. Okay, let me read a couple of your comments and then we will take a break. So, Eduardo, wow, I haven't seen Eduardo Jimenez in years. How you doing, man? He says, our son is a chef in the castle in Disney. One of his responsibilities is to make sure that certain items they offer are gluten-free. Yes. And you have to be very, very careful. And we're going to talk about that a little later in the show when you decide to go and eat out, to make sure that they really understand what it means to be gluten-free. So in other words, you could tell me that you're preparing my meal gluten-free, but if you cooking it in the same thing that you cook the gluten stuff in, then it ain't gluten-free because you just cross-contaminated it. And now I'm eating gluten. So it's all these things you have to be very aware of. Melvern says, that's why so many of us are sick. Well, that's a part of it for sure. I'm not saying gluten is the only thing that's making our people sick, but I definitely think that's a part of it for sure. That's contributing to the illness that we're experiencing. Okay, Claudette says, come on, people, let's get healthy and get rid of COVID without vaccines. I've been vegan going on 6 years, never felt this good before. Gluten-free is the way to go. Get on those longevity products and keep your money away from doctors with their pharmaceutical products and side effects, and spend the money on yourself. You work hard, take care of yourself, you deserve it. It's only one body. Yeah, thanks so much, Claudette, for your words. You know what? She's right, in that, we have been given this one body to traverse this earth in. This is your one house, you ain't gonna get no other body than this one. And you don't know how long you're gonna live. I remember hearing an older gentleman who was going through a lot of really bad health issues say, boy, if I didn't know I was gonna live this long, I'd take better care of myself. So you don't know how long you're gonna live. So it makes sense for you to take care of your body because you could be living with that all your life on this side of eternity. So it just makes sense to take care of your body. Okay. Bertha says, I will try that 21 days, Michelle, because all of those gluten foods I love. But Bertha, try it, okay? I keep saying it. You don't have to live without the foods. It's just shopping elsewhere, buying other products, buying other brands that are gluten-free. But do that. Go do that 21-day challenge. 21 days. Give me 21 days. That's all I ask of you. Give me 21 days. And then on day 22, knock yourself out. And then you're going to be running me down, calling me, I had so much pain, what I should do. Yeah, because your head hard. I go through this all the time with my clients because they figure they can't live without that bread. And I stress this to them. You have to clean up your diet because no amount of nutrition will outdo a poor diet. I stress it. And what do? They think they could sneak half a hot cross bun. Mr. Kemp, if you're listening, sorry, I talk in your business. They think they could sneak half a hot cross bun and ain't nobody gonna know. Somebody gonna know. You're gonna know. Because your body can tell you maybe that's not a good idea. So yeah, we got to stop, people. We got to stop. All right, we're going to take a quick break. On the other side of this break, we're going to, let's see, where are we going on the other side of the break? What are we talking about on the other side of the break? On the other side of the break, we are going to be talking about the problem of malabsorption and why you need to be concerned about it. So stay with us. This is GPS on a Wellness Wednesday.
Located on Carmichael Road, Divine Designs Hair Boutique is a haven for women and men looking for professional beauty services. Our state-of-the-art and contemporary equipment creates a relaxing ambiance for you to enjoy while we cater to you. Need a hairstylist? We cater to all types and textures of hair for care and styling. We even have a barber on duty. Need a nail tech? Our technicians provide a range of nail services, including the latest trends. Unwind in one of our massage chairs while you get your pedicure. With our reasonable rates, friendly staff, and over 20 years of experience, you will be in great hands. Call us at 823-1669 or 698-1025 to schedule your appointment. Want to be pampered? Want to be slayed? Let Divine Designs make your day.
Looking for an extraordinary junior high school with caring, qualified staff and affordable tuition? Then come visit us at Elite School of Excellence, an affiliate of First Step Academy. ABECA-focused and Ministry of Education approved, we foster discipline, integrity, and wisdom while molding our students for success. Call us at 341-8846 or stop by First Step Academy Schools on Fire Trail and Soldy Roads for more information.
Executive Printers is your one-stop shop for all your branding and customization needs. Letterheads, envelopes, business cards, invoices, share and gift certificates, rubber stamps, vouchers, funeral programs, brochures, flyers, banners, and promotional items like mugs, water bottles, mouse pads, and key rings, all with personable service and great quality. No project is too small or too large. For great turnaround and competitive pricing, make an executive decision. Call us at 393-5011.
Escape from the city life to Bacon Air Beach Resort in Pirateswell, Mayaguana. Relax in one of 16 air-conditioned rooms just steps away from the ocean. Enjoy scrumptious dishes in our waterfront dining room. Sip on a tropical cocktail, or if you must, stay connected with wireless internet. Nestled on one of the most beautiful beaches in the Bahamas, Bacon Air Beach Resort offers a unique vacation experience. For reservations, call 339-3726 or 463-0182.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 Hyperimmune Egg Powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your longevity associate.
And welcome back to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Glory 93.9 FM. I'm your host, Michelle Malcolm, and I'd like to encourage you to like and share this show. Let everybody know that we are on the air and we're talking about something that is important to their health. Because, you know, if we was talking politics, there'd be a bunch of them on here. So let them know this is just as important, even more so than politics. And that is protecting your health and understanding what it is that could be triggering disease in your body. So the number to call, 828-3543. Sorry, 828-3543. 828-3543 is the number to call. 828-2543 is the text line. 828-2543 is the text line. So if you have a question as it relates to your health and gluten and the digestive system, just give us a call. Don't call me talking about no politics today, because that's not on the menu today. Today we're dealing with health and wellness, specifically calling the show Going Against the Grain. Going Against the Grain. Do you have the guts for gluten? All right. So I promised that we would talk about malabsorption on this side of the break. And this is a very important thing for us to pay attention to. You need to understand really the impact of malabsorption, because again, your digestive system, the villi, is what is responsible for absorbing nutrients into your bloodstream. And those nutrients are what your body needs to run on. We call it the 90 for life, the 90 essential nutrients. Your body needs those to run on. And you're not going to get it all through your foods. You have to supplement, because we just can't get it all through our foods. It's impossible. Some of them, you just can't get it in adequate numbers, in adequate levels through your food. You are getting some through your food, but not enough. So you need to be absorbing nutrients. Very, very important for you just to be able to function. And so when your gut is damaged to the point where you're not absorbing nutrients, now you've got yourself a real problem. Let's go to the next clip.
And now all of this leads to malabsorption, which of course is the genesis of most chronic disease. Dr. Wallach's seminal research clearly showed, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that the majority of chronic disease is caused or directly affected by lack of nutrition, by malnutrition. Now, our supposition is that there's not enough nutrition in the food anyway to sustain somebody's body and make it healthy. It is impossible to nutrify the body just by eating food. You cannot do it. Now, if on top of that sad fact, we're eating regularly wheat, barley, rye, and oats that are destroying the villi, we're going to be able to absorb even less nutrients than we could the week before. So the food doesn't have the nutrients that we need anyway, and now we can't absorb half of it. So this is not a good recipe. It actually is in fact a recipe for disaster, and it is in fact the genesis of most chronic disease. So our take-home message: you may be in the small percentage of people that are okay with wheat, barley, rye, or oats, but the odds are against it. So the recommendation is go on a gluten-free diet as soon as is humanly possible. You will benefit from it undoubtedly. And as our clinical experience shows us, that the longer we go on a gluten-free diet, the better we feel, the healthier we get, and the more our body is able to absorb things. Oh, the good news. When we stop eating wheat, barley, rye, and oats, give the body the 91 essential nutrients appropriate for body weight every day, guess what happens? The villi grow back. And that's a good thing.
Ain't God good? He created our bodies with the ability to heal. So even after you've been eating that gluten for 40 years, doing all that damage, when you stop and you nutrify the body, the villi grow back. Praise God for his infinite wisdom. So you understand now, hopefully, how important it is for you to be able to absorb nutrients, because of about 900 diseases, they say, can be traced back to a nutritional deficiency. 900. So if you're unable to absorb nutrients because of a damaged gut, because you are eating gluten, among other things that can damage the gut, because there are other things as well, then you understand that you are making yourself more susceptible to contracting one of these diseases. And I want to share once again, hopefully I'll have a better time of doing it this time around. I want to share the list of the categories of disease, the 4 categories of disease, so you can see what happens when you are not absorbing your nutrients. Let me make it full screen so you can see it a little bit better. Okay, so what are some of the conditions that you could end up with as a result of not absorbing nutrients? Well, in the first category, we're going to look at the blood sugar imbalances. When you have a blood sugar imbalance, and that's because you're not absorbing sufficient chromium and vanadium into your system, you end up with conditions like ADD and ADHD, adrenal failure, anxiety, bedwetting, bipolar disorder, cardiovascular disease, depression, diabetes, high cholesterol and elevated triglycerides. Yeah, people, that's a blood sugar imbalance problem. Fainting spells, fatigue, hyperactivity, hypoglycemia, infertility, learning disabilities, migraine headaches, moodiness, narcolepsy, night sweats, obesity, and peripheral neuropathy. And just keep in mind, these are just a handful of the 900 diseases that are a result of a nutritional deficiency. 900. So that's the blood sugar imbalance category. Let's look at the calcium deficiencies. And this is a big one. If you are not absorbing sufficient calcium, magnesium, glucosamine, and chondroitin, you could end up developing things like, and I'm not going to read all of them because it's a lot, but arthritis, back pain, Bell's palsy, bone spurs, bone fractures, brittle nails, calcium deposits, cartilage damage, cognitive impairment, depression, Dowager's hump, elevated blood calcium, high or low blood pressure, which is a huge problem here in the Bahamas, insomnia, irritability, joint pain, kidney stones, ligament damage, hypoparathyroidism, muscle cramps and nervousness, spasms and twitches, osteofibrosis, osteoporosis, panic attacks, PMS, prolonged clotting time, receding gums, restless legs, retarded growth, sciatica, spinal stenosis, tetany, tinnitus, tooth decay, vertigo, and many, many more. Simple deficiency of calcium, magnesium, glucosamine, and chondroitin. Let's look at digestive disorders. When you have a digestive disorder, you end up with things like allergies, athlete's foot, belching, bloating, gas, burping, celiac disease, constipation, Crohn's disease, dermatitis, diarrhea, diverticulitis, food sensitivities, heartburn, hiatal hernias, indigestion, irritable bowel syndrome, jock itch, leaky gut, acid reflux, stomach and intestinal pain, thrush, ulcerative colitis, yeast infections. Final category we're going to look at is essential fats and cholesterol deficiencies. Yes, you can have a cholesterol deficiency. And this is when you are not absorbing sufficient omega-3, 6, and 9 and selenium in your system. You end up with things like acne, ALS, alopecia, Alzheimer's, asthma, blood clots, brittle hair, cardiovascular disease, cracked heels, dementia, dermatitis, extended menopause, eczema, fibromyalgia, fried food cravings, gallstones, growth retardation, infertility, low libido, low sperm count, extended menopause, multiple sclerosis, muscular dystrophy, PMS, psoriasis, kidney dysfunction, split cuticles and heels. Why? Because you're not absorbing sufficient essential fats and cholesterol. So malabsorption is a big deal, people. A very big deal, because if you are not absorbing nutrients, you are heading down the path of developing a serious disease. When we say disease, we mean a degeneration of your body. That's all disease is. Your body is degenerating. How do you get your body to regenerate? Well, you nutrify your body. You make sure that you're getting plant-derived nutrition. But back to what we're talking about today, if you're not healing your gut, or if you continue to damage your gut, then I don't care how much you nutrify your body, you're still going to have a problem. I want you to understand that supplementation and eating well is not enough within itself. If you're going to continue to do things to damage the body, because you could be eating organic, you could be supplementing, but if you're continuing to eat gluten, then you are damaging the very apparatus that is responsible for absorbing the nutrients from that organic food and supplements that you're taking. So I equate that to pouring gasoline on a fire you're trying to put out. It's a useless exercise. Or yeah, how else can I put this for y'all to easily get it? I mean, I don't think I can make it any more simple than that. You're trying to put out a fire, but you're pouring gasoline on it. You know it's not going to go out. So we have to stop doing the damage to the body, people. You have to stop damaging your gut if you expect to be walking in better health. And as you would have just seen, it's not just a digestive issue. It affects your entire body. And your gut is where many chronic diseases begin. That's where the problem starts. So if your gut is damaged and you're continuing to do the damage, don't be surprised when later on down the road, your doctor tells you that you have some non-communicable disease, some long-term chronic ailment. And then you're going to start, oh, I ain't going to let this doctor trying to put this on me. Doctor ain't trying to put nothing on you. You put that on yourself. Stop blaming the doctor for what you did. It never ceases to be amazing when I hear people say, this doctor trying to put this on me. That doctor ain't putting nothing on you. You put that on yourself. So stop blaming the doctor for your years of contributing to your ill health. He ain't trying to put nothing on you. But what we always tell people, you know, especially those who find themselves in a position where they're very, very ill now, believe the diagnosis, but not necessarily the prognosis, because they may tell you, oh, this, you know, you only got 6 months to live. Well, that may not be true. I'm sure there are things that we can do to help turn your health around with, you know, the right nutrition and making sure you don't continue to do the damage. But don't ignore the diagnosis. Don't say the doctor trying to put that on you. Doctor ain't trying to put nothing on you. That's something you work for. So take responsibility for it. Okay, so let's see. I think I want to go to our next clip. Actually, no, I want to save that clip. I don't want to go to that just yet. I want to save that for the last half hour of the show. Yeah, just making sure that I didn't miss anything. So just understand, folks, that you really, really have to take this seriously. You can't continue to do damage to your body and then expect it to function well, because that's a fool's game. That's just crazy. That you are not going to do the things that are necessary to make yourself healthier, and then be upset when you get sick. There's no one without the other. Either you're going to take your health into your own hands and get serious about it, or you're going to be happy with managing an illness until you die. Which is better? Are you happy with having to take medication for the rest of your life? Or would you prefer to heal naturally as God designed your body to do? Well, if your answer is you'd prefer to heal naturally, then for God's sake, stop doing the things that you're doing that are contributing to the problem. And one of the key things is gluten. Eating gluten will damage you. Now, you might be lucky and be in that 20% of Black people who can handle it. Well, God bless you if you are. Or that 40% of Caucasians who could handle it. But more of us are out here who can't handle it than who can. 80% of people of color cannot handle this. 60% of Caucasians cannot handle gluten. So if you are already experiencing some other kind of medical condition that you may not have attributed to eating gluten, why would you continue knowing those statistics? To me, that don't make too much sense. Now, maybe it's just me, and y'all could tell me if I'm wrong. Kyle is asking me a question. What do I take? What do I take in reference to what, Kyle? What do you mean, what do I take? I don't eat gluten. I do not eat gluten. I have found some wonderful gluten-free products in the food store that I purchase and use and enjoy. And therefore, I don't feel like I'm missing anything. Kyle, when you say what do I take, I supplement with longevity. That's the line of supplements that I use, all plant-derived nutrition. I'm a certified holistic health coach, and the institute through which I was trained, we work closely with longevity because that is our preferred brand. And then, there are about 20 divisions within longevity of different lines that we also recommend highly. But nutrients are very important to keeping you vibrant. Yeah, Kyle. So I just answered your question. He's asking about supplements, longevity. You can message me after the show, and I'll respond to you directly. But yeah, I after going gluten-free and seeing how much better I felt and how I was able to lose the weight so effortlessly, and I'm like, man, ain't no way I going back to that. No way, because now it's sort of like I'm almost scared to go back to it because I don't want that feeling of pain anymore. So even, I'm not saying I'm never tempted, but I may go someplace and they have something that I would love. And then I think, boy, Michelle, if you eat that, is it possible you go wake up 3 o'clock in the morning, bent over with pain? Do you really want to take that risk? And then I don't eat it because I'm more afraid of what would happen if I have a reaction to it. So that fear of that is enough to get me not to eat it. Now, sometimes you end up eating things and you don't realize it has it. Like I went to a restaurant that doesn't do meat, and I bought a black bean burger, and I didn't know at the time that spelt is a form of wheat. So I got the burger bun was made with spelt flour. And I thoroughly enjoyed that burger. And then a minute after I ate that, my stomach started bloating up and bloating up and bloating up. And I said, oh my God, what did I just eat? And so I reached out to one of the senior people in my company, and I said, I just ate something, and I don't know what I ate, but my stomach is swelling up. And she said, "What did you have?" And I told her, and she says, "Well, what kind of flour did they use on the bread?" And I said, "Spelt." And she said, "Michelle, that's wheat." And I was like, "Well, mud those." Now you tell me. I just didn't know. But spelt is an ancient form of wheat. So yeah. So, definitely not a mental thing, because I was thinking that I was eating something gluten free, but my body reacted because my body knew better. So yeah, people, it's just, you have to do it. And nowadays it's so much easier to do than it would have been 5 years ago. Dorinda's asking me, where did you find gluten free cereal? The food store where I shop, just go in the cereal aisle, and it was right there. I ain't calling their name. I ain't getting them no free ad because they don't sponsor my show. But, but for those that sell gluten-free cereal, just go in the go in the cereal aisle, and you'll find it there, right next to all the gluten ones. I mean, the ones with gluten. I have been thoroughly enjoying these past couple of days. Some gluten-free cereals I've found in the food store. Oh my Lord, I feel like I'm back in college. In college when you used to eat cereal for dinner? I had cereal for dinner the other night, and man, that was good because I found a gluten-free cereal and it tastes so good. This one particular brand that I bought had maple syrup in it, like it made with maple syrup, and the flavor of that reminded me of Captain Crunch. And when I was growing up, Captain Crunch was my absolute favorite cereal. So girlfriend could be killing that cereal, right? And I didn't have to worry about the bloated stomach, and I didn't have to have the pain and joint pain and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, look at God. Okay, guys. As you can see, we are surrounded by darkness because the electricity has gone out here at the station. And I'm assuming it's the entire neighborhood here. So, yeah, we don't have any electricity right now. Delton, I don't know if we play that last clip, would they still be able to see it? Yeah? Okay. So, they're working on some stuff here. What's that?
Clip 6.
Oh, yeah, clip 6. Okay,
Tip
we're going
number
to go to
one, deglutenify your home. Your home is your safe haven in a gluten-filled world. So let's start there. How you will do this will depend on whether you live alone, with roommates, or with family. Let's start with living alone because it's the simplest. You don't want to be tempted, so purge your kitchen of any gluten-containing items. Make sure that you read the labels because you probably haven't done that before. And this also includes items that might have been contaminated. Things like peanut butter jars or jam jars where you might have put a knife in with breadcrumbs. If things are unopened, you now have gifts for your friends and family. Next, give everything in your kitchen that has come into contact with gluten a good scrub down. If it's more than just you in your household, then painter's tape and a Sharpie are your friends. You're going to want to label all of the gluten-free items and ideally store them in a separate place so that other people don't accidentally use them and contaminate them. If you live with others, you should also get a separate cutting board for bread and pasta strainer or any other items that get a lot of gluten traffic. You should also label those so that no one accidentally uses those either. And if you have sketchy roommates who don't thoroughly wash their dishes, you might want to grab an extra set of everything. And no matter what, buy a new toaster. There's no way you're going to scrub the gluten out of that. Tip number 2, research, aka the boring part. I won't go on and on about this because it's just common sense. Do your research. No need to spend hours and hours in the depths of the internet. Just find a list of the foods that you can and can't have so that it's easier when you're grocery shopping. Here's a quick list of gluten-containing grains: wheat, barley, rye, triticale or triticale, farina, spelt, kamut, wheat berries, farro, and couscous. In addition to those grains, here are a few things that people often confuse. Oats are naturally gluten-free, but most are contaminated. You have to buy specifically gluten-free oats. You can have soy, you can't have soy sauce, unless it's specifically gluten-free soy sauce, which is also sometimes called tamari. You can have quinoa, you can't have couscous. Buckwheat is gluten-free, surprisingly. Don't know who named that. Watch out for things that are sweetened with barley malt syrup. Lindt chocolate has it, for example, and doesn't say may contain. You can have vinegar, you can't have malt vinegar. Tip number 3, go on a gluten-free shopping spree. Woo! AKA the fun part. Now that you've purged your cupboards, it's time to restock with everything gluten-free. You're probably feeling sad, so time to fill that void with food. Try lots of different products to see what you like. Tip number 4, find your go-to recipes. Making delicious food in your now gluten-safe kitchen is going to make you feel better and less restricted. I basically forget that I have celiac when I'm cooking at home. Maybe you already have some recipes that will be easy to make gluten-free. Win! Now it's time to expand your repertoire. Search the internet or order a cookbook or two. Find both some comfort foods and some healthy, nourishing options. Tip number 5, bake. Look, yes, gluten-free bakeries are great, but they will get expensive very fast. For example, my local gluten-free bakery charges $51 for a dozen chocolate cupcakes or $33 for a dozen chocolate chip cookies. Great for a treat, but I can't afford that all the time. Baking at home is the best way to get the tastiest and cheapest gluten-free products. Because gluten-free baked goods get dry and stale very quickly, the best way to experience that fresh from the oven taste is to bake them fresh from your oven. Tip number 6, find restaurants. When you're gluten-free, restaurants can either be totally fine or a horror show. I have a whole video planned for how to navigate restaurants, so stay tuned for that. But the most important thing is that you research your local restaurants. It's good to do this for several reasons, but mainly that, 1, if you're going out to eat with friends, you can suggest places that you can actually eat at, And 2, if you're hungry and don't have time to cook, you don't have to navigate menu after menu trying to find somewhere that you can eat. Obviously, your best option is going to be a gluten-free restaurant or a restaurant that does certified gluten-free. Honestly, these places are few and far between, and if you live in a small town, they probably don't exist. Next, some restaurants will have a separate gluten-free menu, which is always exciting because it shows that they know what gluten-free actually means. But unless you are in a strictly gluten-free restaurant, you still need to ask if they're using a dedicated gluten-free fryer just to make sure that the food isn't contaminated. There are several restaurants that I've been to that are like this with gluten-free menus that have things marked as gluten-free that aren't technically gluten-free because of the fryers, so just be careful. Then, many restaurants nowadays will have menu items marked as gluten-free. In those restaurants, you're still going to want to ask about the deep fryer and tell your server that you're celiac or have a gluten intolerance just to be safe. And then, the worst. If they don't know what you're talking about when you say gluten-free, run. Bottom line is, find a few go-to places so you never have to deal with the stress of finding good options last minute. Tip number 7, find your people. This is one tip I wish I had earlier. Find your gluten-free kindred spirits. Super lame, but what I mean is don't try to do this solo. Poke around on the Celiac Foundation or Association websites to find local events. Reach out to anyone in your life who has to follow a gluten-free diet for some advice, and follow some local gluten-free people on Instagram.
All right, guys.